Hello everyone, we'll be making a beautiful chocolate marble cake. So beautiful, you can literally feast with your eyes. And the question is, can you resist it? Let's make one and find out for ourselves. Starting with our dry ingredients, we will be taking in the white flour, that is the all-purpose flour. Here, first we will be taking half a cup, measuring it twice. Then we will take in 1/3 cup, measuring in twice as well. And just to mention here, I'm showing both the ways of weighing your ingredients and also measuring it. Although I would suggest that you use a weighing scale if possible, that only ensures you get the exact quantity of your ingredients. And last, we will be taking in 1 tablespoon, measuring it twice. Now all of this comes to a weight of 250 grams. Surely you can replace the 2 half cups with 1 full cup. Next, to the dry flour, we will be adding in the baking powder, taking in 1 teaspoon and 1/8 of a teaspoon. Let us now sieve all of this together, ensuring there aren't any lumps and also removing any impurities there may be. Now we will take our caster sugar. Now caster sugar is a slightly finer version of the regular granulated sugar. Here we will take half a cup plus a 1/3 cup, and 1 tablespoon. This should weigh up to a total of 200 grams. Now moving on to our butter, which is room temperature. We should be using unsalted butter, weighing up to 200 grams, which would be 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons in measure. Using our electric beater, we will beat it well enough until it's light and pale in color. Now taking our caster sugar, we will add in 2 tablespoons at a time. Well, it's not necessary 2 tablespoons specifically, but just a little in quantity at a time. This helps to incorporate the sugar well into the butter. Caster sugar is a free-flow sugar that is lighter in texture and dissolves easily in our baked goodies. Also make sure we scrape the sides of the bowl, incorporating all the sugar that may be left behind. At this point, we can add in our vanilla extract, which is 1.5 teaspoons, making sure we beat that in just as well. And giving you a closer look for the consistency that we are looking at. Next, we will take in 1 egg at a time. Of course, we are taking 4 eggs, but we will be adding in 1 at a time, whisking it lightly with a fork before we add it into the butter mixture. Now, using the electric beater, of course, we will incorporate it well before we add in the next one. So similarly, we will be adding in the rest of the eggs, of course, making sure it is added 1 at a time, as this will only help ensure that you get a smooth and well mixed batter. Make sure to crack the eggs in a separate bowl, ensuring if there are any defective ones before you add it into the batter. Here I would like to mention that egg yolks play an important role in ensuring that your batter is smooth and well mixed, only because it contains protein that helps to mix the fats and liquids together. In addition, it also creates structure and stability in the batter, and of course helps to keep the cake moist. Making sure you scrape the sides of the bowl as you go. And this is what it will look like, although it seems a little curdled. But don't worry, everything will come together as we mix the rest of the ingredients. Moving on to our next ingredient, that is the milk. This is room temperature milk. We will take 120 ml, which would ideally weigh more in grams depending on the density of your milk, although it's absolutely fine to have a difference of gram or two. Next, we shall take 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder, to which we'll be adding in 2 tablespoons of milk, which should be room temperature or ever so lightly warm, just to mix in the cocoa powder well. Now taking in all the 3 components, that is the flour mixture, the milk and the butter mixture. We will be incorporating all 3 together, starting with the flour and ending with flour as well. Taking in a couple of tablespoons of flour, we will whisk it in with the electric beater, of course making sure we do not overmix it, just to incorporate the dry into the wet. Next, add in some milk and incorporate that as well. And similarly, alternating between the flour and the milk, going ahead with the rest. I would like to mention here, if you notice, that you must ensure that we whisk only in one direction. Avoid whisking it to and fro, as this may cause lumps in your batter, and that's definitely not something we're looking for. So here we have our final batter. The texture, you can see how smooth and creamy it looks. Now taking a separate bowl, about 1/3 of the portion of the vanilla batter into the separate bowl, which measures to about 2 cups. Using a spatula, we will lightly incorporate all of the cocoa mixture into the batter. At this point, you can preheat your oven at 170 degrees Celsius or 338 degrees Fahrenheit. Once both your batters are ready, you can surely go ahead and grease your pan and pour the batter in. But I would like to show off some ribbon effect in the cake once it's baked, and for which I'll be using the piping bag. So let us start with greasing the pan well enough into the crevices, making sure this only helps the cake to come off easily. Starting with the vanilla batter, we will pour in, or pipe in rather, into the base of the pan, making sure we do not leave any air gaps. And then we will alternate with the chocolate batter, and of course repeating the same with the vanilla and the chocolate alternating which will eventually form a beautiful pattern once the cake is baked and sliced into. And now wiggle the pan vigorously just to make sure we do not have any air pockets. Using the spatula, we shall also smoothen out all the grease that may be there. Tap the pan to remove any air bubbles that might be there and bake it in a preheated oven at 170 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes. Our beautiful cake is out of the oven, and here you can see the cake has left the sides of the pan, which is exactly what we are looking for. You can surely bake it for a little lesser time than mentioned, depending on your oven. Ensuring if the cake is done thoroughly from the inside, we will check with the skewer, making sure it comes out clean. And here it is, the most spectacular bundt cake. Just look at how spongy and soft it is, and the glow that it has, in addition to the beautiful pattern, which I think gives a perfect look for a romantic date night dessert. Wouldn't you agree? And now, with the chocolate glaze, which is so decadent, it is entirely optional, but it makes the cake look more celebratory and comforting, I'll say. Let us slice in to see the beautiful patterns that might have turned out. Just look at those beautiful ribbons of chocolate in between the vanilla. Nothing beats a classic dessert like the chocolate marble cake, but even better when it's a bundt marble cake. You can serve with a cup of coffee on a Sunday morning or with a nice cup of tea after dinner with friends. But let me give you a fair warning, this cake is beautiful, spongy and dense, and it will surely have your guests reaching for seconds. I hope you enjoyed the recipe, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments below about how it turned out for you. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, bye for now.